Hi, nice to be here. Virtual and nice weather, much better than back home in Finland where the slushy season is about to start. I'm Rami Potinkara from the Qt company, working there as a senior manager in R&D, and I'm here to talk you a little bit about the Cookbook. So if you have any questions or want to chat somehow, you use the Q&A and chat. And let's start to go through the Cookbook. What, why, and how. What is a cookbook? Well, in general, a cookbook is a reference of recipes and directions. So basically from the baking, cooking, step-by-step kind of illustrated process and results with big pictures, diagrams, and etc. Different cooking phases or baking phases, all the way from the process start to the end when the end product is taken out from the warm oven. And they can be differently organized, written, and scope. So you can have organization by different teams, or either by alphabetical order or whatever. And the author can be a single person, or it could be a co-written by a community or something like that. Those are the two extremes there. And then the scope, it could be something special, like for example the vegetarian one, or Italian one, or let's say Finnish one with the great mashed potatoes and the meatballs. So, but in this context, what the cookbook means, it's actually a put to Qt documentation from the Qt. And it's kind of based on the old documentation, but it's now reorganized to different kind of steps, perhaps more logical, like for example customizing the Protocute and the creating of the QPSP. And it's written by the Qt developers based on the feedback that we had received from the community, like our partners, customers, even job applicants, and the developers working in the community. So it's private because the repo is private, and that's the reason why we are developing it, but we are more than welcome to get you on board to develop it. And the scope for us, it's the Yocto-based, and the history there is that we have the Protocute, which is based on the Yocto, which is kind of demo distribution of it. And that's also the basic and the fundamental of the documentation. And well, let's check what we have to offer there a little bit later. So we are going to widen the scope a little bit. And in time-wise, the scope of the cookbook is Qt 6, and it will be introduced most likely later for 5.15. And the reason just for doing this is just our time usage. We need to focus something, and we are going to focus on Qt 6 first, because we cannot split our effort to both. So what is Protocute? It's kind of Yocto-based embedded Linux stack and intended for rapid prototyping. And it's their prototyping means they are back that it's actually trying to get to offer you everything that you need to do to get your hands on the dirt, and it does not focus on the footprint and or other things that makes the end product to be great. It's an enabler to getting hands on and getting started you with the Qt. So remember that difference there. And well, it supports different Yocto versions, different Qt versions. Let's say like Dunwell, Juice Warrior, and etc. from Yocto. Different Qt versions from 5.15 now to 6, and then older ones. And what is a QPSP? It's a Qt port support package, basically just a zip file containing toolchain, target image, and Qt creator configurations. And like those Qt creator settings are there in XML. And then we have the pre-built toolchain and images done already by there. And it's compliant with the Qt maintenance and installer tool, which is basically the delivery channel to broad the QPSP for the users. And it's done automatically then by every Qt user using the Qt maintenance or installer tool using Qt Creator and Qt. So the basic purpose for QPSP is sharing your deliverables to others. And in Qt company, we use that from developer to developer, and it could be used also from let's say from some of our hardware partners to their end customers. At least that's our assumption. And well, you can give your feedback in the chat or Q&A, and what's the reality from your perspective. Then why we are going to do the cookbook here? So basically, the documentation, the older one, it was good based on the feedback, but there is a room for improvement, and we are going to do the improvement now for Qt 6 first. And well, what does actually that mean? So we are going to bring the instructions that were scattered a little bit around to more catered kind of step-by-step instruction set with illustration like pictures and diagrams. And basically it also offers the way what do you need to know about to get Protocute on your board. And that's the fundamental background for it, the documentation. And for getting the Protocute on your board, we have the existing reference board there already listed in the documentation what you can use, and then we are also focusing on how we could provide better instructions for creating the Protocute for a new board which is not yet supported as a target. And we also aim to enable more autonomy for our users, the Qt users, and our customers, partners, vendors. So we would like to enable you to do more like do-it-yourself kind of setuping of Protocute on your board. Better instructions for that one. And also the Qt and the Qt tools to work on your board. And then it's a kind of an umbrella concept. So it's based on our Protocute, which is Yocto-based, and we would like to extend it now for a wider scope of supported Yocto-based Linux distributions, like some BSP vendor might have provided their own, like ST has the OpenST Linux, for example. That means that we are willing to support that, but we are not going to do the whole Yocto work on behalf of you anyway. All right, then if you got interested now how to contribute, there's the Q&A and chat for this presentation, and all what you mark there is noticed, and we are going to handle those with our team. We have the experts from our product management organization and from R&D helping me to provide answers for you. And if we are not able to answer all the questions online, we shall do that later. All input and questions are valuable. And then if you are familiar with our Jira, that bugreports.qt.io, please go there and find the Qt bug 73834 item. That's the one for the cookbook documentation. And give your comments there, whatever you see to be valuable to be contributed. Like from our perspective, most valuable parts would be that if we are completely missing something from the documentation, like we have a total black gap there that needs to be somehow addressed, and we had forgotten to do that, so please do that. Well, also other kind of comments, like smaller ones, that this kind of would look nice, and all are exactly the same value of importance. So you don't need to provide the huge gap you can also contribute little items, smaller items. And well, you can also contact straight to me because the repository is not public. We at the whatever online tool that we use for meetings like Jitsi, Zoom, MS Teams, or via the email. And my account is Qt.io. So, some headaches next. And this is based on my personal experience with the Protocute and doing these things. And I'm a kind of newbie in Qt, just been here from the start of the year, so having my freshman year at the Qt. And well, I'm a manager and not a developer in a sense, so that's another aspect there. But I do have a developer background for many years. So, the headaches. License, ooh, legal stuff, ooh, hard. And then, how to create the Protocute to your new board, like to use the existing reference board. We have a great documentation and it was rather easy for me. I didn't find it hard, but to create the support for a new board, that was an interesting part. And then how to create the QPSP. We have the QPSPs for existing boards, some delivered along with the Qt maintenance and installer tool already. But for doing that for a new board, that was one topic that caused me a headache. Alright, then selecting the license. So basically, either strictly commercial for your proprietary closed system or completely open with GPL. Every code and library shared to the audience. And then you can pick something in between, which is LGPL. And LGPL gives you some freedom of choice for regarding the openness. So if you do not have any statically linked libraries there to your proprietary code, you can decide what you are going to share. Then there's other terms and conditions, and also the need for a technical support. So if you're making your end product and you need the support for your product, and you would like to get that from the Qt company, then consider the commercial license. If you are okay to go with the support from the community that is working on with the Qt project, then you can pick the open source versions. And then last point perhaps, but not the least, I don't know, are the Qt commercial features like USB debugging or setting up in the Protocute environment your own app to be started instead of the demo launcher. If you like to do something like that, pick the commercial one. And well, you need to decide this early, so all delays impact for your project when it goes forward. I would say that contact your legal. Then, how to create a Protocute to a new board, new target board. Initially, first steps, what do you need to do? Get the documentation, find the right hardware, the target hardware, check that does the requirements of the hardware match for the system requirements of the Protocute and Yocto-project. And then gather around the software tools all the way from the Kit tools and etc. if you're missing those. And lots of this documentation you can find already from the Qt documentation for Protocute and all, and then from the Yocto-project. And many vendors also have really great documentations. And in this example, we used the STM, which has really good documentation. And then next, when you have that kind of things ready, you need to prepare the repositories, get the one for Protocute, for the BSP, perhaps something else, prepare the environment, and then the layers for Yocto. And documentation really helps you to do this. And I personally find that the BSP specific parts were a little bit tricky one. They required more time from me, but that's my personal impression. And then you need to build the image, prepare the flashing and flash the device, and eventually boot to Qt for the Qt demo launcher. And the flashing also varies between the boards, between the different BSP vendors. And I would recommend you to expect and to be prepared for some kind of debugging. It might be that you can get all things done very easily, but usually to get it already booted up, you need some debugging. And there's a different BSP vendor-specific tools for doing the flashing, preparing the flashing, and also the flashing tools that they use for flashing it to either to the end device or the SD card are different. But then you can also use the DD and etc. to flash for the SD card. And then put it up to the Qt and have fun, get introduced to it. And then comes the videos for like 10 minutes.
Hello, thanks for having me and thanks for listening. As an introduction, I'm Mike Hartman, Product Marketing for Microcontrollers and Microprocessors in ST's Americas region. As technology evolves, a critical design challenge that must always be addressed is how humans interface with that technology. At ST, we call this the HMI of Things. HMI standing for Human Machine Interface. Graphics displays are all around us. We see them every day, and there's probably one sitting next to you right now. As embedded intelligence continues to grow, there are smarter and connected devices everywhere, addressing all markets from consumer goods and appliances to wearables, medical, and industrial. In the past, microcontrollers might have been limited to simple buttons for control and a segment LCD for display. Now we can offer feature-rich touch interfaces with color LCDs and animations with smartphone-like control. The STM32 product portfolio and ecosystem possesses the technology needed for today's advanced graphics applications. You might be a current STM32 user and are familiar with this slide already. It shows our complete product portfolio and highlights our 10-year longevity commitment. We will use this slide to highlight the STM32 series with advanced graphics capabilities. Shown here are those STM32 products that possess graphics acceleration. Starting from the top right, we have the STM32 MP1, our general-purpose microprocessor, which has an optional 3D graphics core. If you have a project that would run Linux or Android, the STM32 MP1 is a good option to consider. In our microcontroller family, we have the STM32 F4, F7, and H7 in our high-performance product line, and the STM32 L4 Plus in our ultra-low power product line. All of these devices have graphics acceleration and other advanced graphics features. We'll start by looking at the STM32 MP1 general-purpose microprocessor. The STM32 MP1 can be used for a wide range of applications in a wide range of markets. Perhaps you are designing a medical device, industrial control, home security gateway, HVAC control, or a home automation device as shown in the picture. The STM32 MP1 can address the critical features needed for these applications. The latest additions to the MP1 family enables dual Cortex-A7s to be clocked up to 800 MHz. This allows the STM32 MP1 to support 720p HD video decode. When using the STM32 MP157 with the optional 3D graphics core enabled, you can implement a high-performance user interface. And lastly, the heterogeneous architecture using both Cortex-A and Cortex-M cores provides the flexibility needed for various applications, including audio, voice, and other real-time processing. Thanks for listening to the ST portion of today's presentation. I'll hand it back over for the remainder of the session.
Alright, next we will show you how to customize Protocute by adding a new support for a new device, by creating a new layer, and we started from picking up the right manifest. Before this phase, you need to have gone through the headache of selecting license, installing the tools, picking up the right hardware, and etc. from whatever vendor you like to pick. And next we pick the right XML. We need to figure it out the right one, which supports also the POCI and the BSP as well as the Qt. And in this case, we will pick the 5.15 one, which is choose. And then we initialize the repo and do the sync for it. Syncing might take some time, so let's skip the actual doing part there. Right, now it's synced. So in this case we are using the reference board from ST, MB157 evaluation board. And for that we have the GitHub from ST to get the BSP layer for Yocto. And we need to pick the choose. And that layer shall be cloned in the same level as the other layers. And naturally, if you select some other vendor's BSP, the instruction is a different one. Alright, and let's do the first adding of some rights for the directory, because we need to use the sudo there. And let's clone it. Now that's done. So we managed to do the initialization of the repositories. Alright, next we are going to prepare the environment, and for that we need the right machine code, and that we can get from the ST documentation. And STMP32MB1 evaluation would be the right for the evaluation board. And well, it's a good documentation from ST, clear instructions. Alright, let's export that machine environment variable. Now it's done, and let's confirm that it's success. Alright, that's done, and next we are going to prepare the build environment. First go to the POCI to make bitbake work. So we are going to run the OAA init build n script, and next we are going to set up the environment for Protocute. And when that's done, by setup environment.sh, you can see that the build directory is created for this board. Alright, next we shall prepare the layers, and we start that from BSP layer. And for adding layer we use the Yocto-project documentation. There's a clear good instruction how to add layer via bitbake. You could do this also manually, but in this example we use the automatic bitbake mechanism. Alright, so let's do that. And it's done. And next we will create the Protocute layer and then add it. And there you see that the ST layer had been created properly. And the folder meta ST32MB had been created. And now let's create the Protocute layer. By bitbake layers, create layer. There's good documentation for that also in Yocto-project. And then we add the layer. And after adding the layer, let's check that the layers really are there by bitbake layers so layer, even though those folders are there for both layers. So bitbake layers so layer, and there's the list. Alright, let's next prepare the BSP specific changes. And for that we can get help from the Protocute documentation and from this Renaissance example. So basically what we need to do is to do the same kind of folder and file structure in the new layer, and let's do that. In the Protocute layer. So we create the distro folder, and then we create the include folder, and then create the Protocute.enc file. And in that file we will do the changes for this BSP, and we need to do the root fs max size increase as well as the fs type adding there for ext4 due to the file system that it use, and because the max size was too low initially. And we can see those file types from the SD documentation if needed. And same for other BSPs. So next we are going to do the building of the image. We are going to create the customized Protocute image. And for that we need to go in the right directory in the build tier. Alright, that's done, and then we need to check what is the right name for the image, and that we can get from the Protocute recipe name. So we bitbake the image, and now the image creation had started. If you're doing the image creation for the first time, it will take quite a lot of time. Depends on your build environment or the build server or your local PC laptop processing powers and resources. So prepare for something like hours, but if you had built it earlier, then it's faster. And yep, so that's all for that. Now we shall prepare the image for flashing. And well, this phase might depend on the BSP, and you need to go in the temp deploy images and the BSP name folder to find the right image. And let's see, with there we have the Protocute images built ready, as well as the SD specific flash layout folder for the Protocute image. Each vendor might have a different way to do the flashing, so flash layout is SD specific. So alright, let's go to the scripts. Scripts, yep, now we are there. And we execute there the create SD card from flash layout.sh file. After we first show you a couple of changes that we do there. We needed to increase the default raw image size to 2 gigs from 1.5 because otherwise it was failing. And when we execute the actual script, you can also see the outcome of that as a warning still. So alright, let's start the script. Yep, and now you can see there's warning coming on soon. And help for doing this we find from SD documentation, and assume that that's then the same for other vendors' documentation. And there we got the warning for image too big, and without the change it was an error. So there's the image now created, and this is now in the build server, so let's check the raw image there. There you see we have Protocute image for this SD board in raw format, and next that needs to be transferred to a local machine. Alright, now we are in my local machine after copying the raw image from the build server to here. Let's see that what kind of image we have here. There you see the Protocute image in raw format, and next we shall flash it to the SD card. For flashing to SD card we use the dd command in this case, and we found that help from the SD documentation. And first thing is to check the SD card device and then mount it, and in this case the device is connected via external adapter, so it seems to be SDA. It might be MMC Pilkey something if you use the internal one, or maybe even something different. Alright, so all EU mounted. And then we are ready to DD the image to SD card. So that's the command, and now the process starts. It might take some time because the image is around 2 gigs, but a little bit below, but anyway about 1.5. So that's all. Well, now the video show is over. How to create your QPSP to a new target board? No, seriously, no. Instead of me showing you this how to do, let's instead focus on your needs. What do you think about the QPSP? Do you need that? And would you like that to get as documented? And would the HTML documentation with videos and some kind of other examples would be sufficient, or even too much? What do you think? You use the Q&A and the chat. And also, what are your biggest, or what is your biggest headache at the moment if you have only one? Do you want to do something different with the Protocute? Not use the whole stack there, which is like very wide and having the impact of a larger footprint? Or would you like to do something specific for some specific business use case, perhaps like multimedia, or then completely minimal, just to get it with the minimal setup and minimal footprint. Or how about then the actual delivery of your output? So that would you like to use the QPSP to deliver your deliverables to the customers? Would that be your preferred mechanism perhaps, or something else? And then one thing also, that do you want to bake a totally a different cake? So bit baking from Yocto, yes, great, bridge to that. But if you would like to use some other operating system than Yocto-based Linux, tell us. And use the Q&A chat, or if you want to contact me privately, that's also an option. All right, then future and the thanks. Future for the cookbook, we have visions how to extend it for actually for verification and the delivery. So getting your board to be as Qt is one. So we would like to offer you a test bench where you can verify your Qt and get a kind of Qt ready label for that. It's kind of similar approach that Google uses for CMS and CTS verifier and etc. if you're familiar with that one. And then the QPSP creation would be also verified by the test bench to be Qt ready to be delivered. And if you want to contribute on this kind of future visions, check the Jira again, Qtbook 85854, QPSP productization and enablers. And yeah, please share your ideas, views on that item. Or you may also share those in the Q&A or contact me privately. And then the bakery, the delivery channel, like QPSPs could be available via the account.qt.io or even via Marketplace. Which one do you prefer? And then in the end, thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. That's all, folks. Any questions, type it to the Q&A and chat. And we try to answer those if we still have time. And if not, we shall get back to those later. And yep, when the cookbook is ready for you, have fun with cooking with Qt. Thank you.